Good morning. It's Mary Lanza, and I'm going to continue on with part 3. And I'm going to begin where we left off from yesterday. And here goes the continuation of Losing the Boomer Blues. Grace, seeing Mary's interest and delight in the sunglasses, was quick to say, "Take them, they're yours. My client's only interested in the records." Mary was grateful. For some reason she couldn't quite explain, not even to herself, she was deeply drawn to these round-shaped granny sunglasses. Grace walked over to her and said, "Put them on, Mary. Let's see what they look like." Mary didn't hesitate. She put them on and asked Grace what she thought. "They look great, but there's no sunshine outside right now. You may want to wait until spring before you wear them." "I'm not waiting that long, Grace. There's sure to be some sunshine way before spring." Jane and Lucy were giggling and making silly comments about the sunglasses. They felt they were outdated and unfashionable. But when Jane noticed that Mary was hurt by their comments, she wanted to cheer her up. She took out her harmonica and began playing the Beatles song, "Here Comes the Sun." Lucy hummed along to let Mary know they weren't intentionally trying to hurt her. When they were done singing, Jane said, "Sorry, Mary, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. The sunglasses are wonderful. You look really cute in them." Still a little pricked from her friend's reactions, Mary replied, "No worries. I can't wear them right now, but just wait until the sun comes out. I'll be wearing them every chance I get." Though they were dated, Mary felt they symbolized the past, and for that reason, they weren't so trivial. Lucy walked up to Mary and gently said, "Despite my frequent smiles, I'm often emotional too. Lately, I've been more uptight than usual, but that's no excuse for being insensitive. I apologize for making fun of the sunglasses, Mary." In truth, all 3 women were sensitive about aging, but Mary was taking it harder than her friends. They all felt that time was hurrying by. The wrinkles, sagging skin, and weight gain were a harsh reality, but mortality, on the other hand, was a scary concept to accept. The 3 women adapted the adage, "Boomer Blues," to describe their feeling of loss when thinking of the past and the trepidation of the unknown future. Grace felt her boomer friends were overly concerned about the wrinkles on their faces, rather than celebrating their lives and the experiences, good and bad, that created those lines in the first place. As a member of the silent generation, she understood these feelings. Therefore, she was able to empathize with her younger friends. However, one day they would realize, as she did, that this desire to remain youthful on the outside wasn't as important as remaining youthful on the inside. It was a fear they all needed to address, sooner or later, to move past their boomer blues. The long, exhausting day was now drawing to a close for Grace. The 3 women exchanged quick hugs. Grace grabbed her keys to lock up the shop and began preparations for closing. She smiled and said, "Live in the now, girls, and don't sweat the small stuff. Life's too short to anguish over regret and things you can't change." The 3 women put on their gloves, turned up their collars, and headed out into the dark winter evening, with Mary still clutching the slender eyeglass case in her hand. Walking up Clement, they headed home. They all lived relatively close together, but Jane, who lived in the opposite direction, noticed the 2 Clement bus approaching and decided to take it home. She boarded the bus and waved goodbye to her 2 friends, who lived only a few blocks up from Yesteryear's. As Mary and Lucy continued walking up Clement, Mary mentioned that she felt the day they had just shared was one of her favorite kinds because it was about friendship and reflection. Once again, she expressed her delight in finding the sunglasses. "These shades called out to me, Lucy. I fell in love with them instantly. Who knows why they came into my life? All I know is I can't wait to wear them. When the sun comes out, I'm putting them on. walking in the light of day and losing the boomer blues. You go, girl. You'll lose those boomer blues in no time, Miss Mary Sunshine. Mary smiled, hugged Lucy goodbye, and they both went their separate ways. Jane. It was nearly 7 o'clock when Jane arrived home. Although her twins, Kelly and Catherine, had been out of the nest for years, she found herself still adjusting to the emptiness every time she entered the house. In their late 30s, the twins were raising families of their own and also pursuing careers. It was a balancing act common for their generation. Kelly, an architect, was working in Southern California. He and his wife, Cheryl, had 2 young children. Catherine and her husband, David, had a 4-year-old son, and they were both school teachers living in Half Moon Bay. Jane was grateful to live close to Catherine because she could enjoy frequent visits with her grandson, Harry. She and her husband, Bob, were thrilled to be grandparents and often had Harry over on the weekends when Catherine and David needed a romantic getaway. Bob Corey was a retired real estate agent. When he retired, Jane had hoped they'd spend quality time together during their golden years. Yet, after 3 decades of working, he now felt he had the right to pursue his passion, golf. A weekend golfer for years, now he was on the green every chance he got. He half-heartedly suggested that Jane take lessons and join him, but she had resisted making that commitment. When Bob retired, she had hoped they'd travel and frequently left cruise brochures on the kitchen counter. However, his lack of interest in them had resulted in 0 travel plans. She hadn't given up yet, though. For some time, she'd been planning to speak to Grace about assisting her at Yesteryears. While Grace did her best to hide her limitations, it was apparent to Jane that she was starting to show signs of slowing down. Jane was surprised that Grace had admitted today that she had pain in her back. To acknowledge any physical limitation was uncharacteristic of her. Since Bob had his golf and Kelly and Catherine were busy raising their children and making a living, Jane felt she needed to find an outside activity to keep her busy and fulfilled. She had always had a special place in her heart for Yesteryears, so perhaps Grace would be open to her coming in to help out. It was a win-win situation as far as Jane was concerned. She entered the living room.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Excuse me, that was Amazon. She entered the living room where she found Bob sound asleep on his favorite chair. He was balding on top and wore a golf cap out of vanity. He had salt and pepper sideburns and a clear, youthful tan complexion. He was handsome, with bushy eyebrows and chestnut brown eyes. She noticed a slight smile on his face and felt he must have had a great day of golf. Playfully, she pulled her harmonica out of her pocket and brought it up to her mouth and started laughing silently. She didn't have the heart to start playing and disturb him. He'd probably start snoring in a few minutes, and that would wake him up soon enough. Best to leave him alone. As she walked into the kitchen, she wondered what she'd cook for dinner. She wanted to choose something quick, so she decided on pasta. When the meal was almost done, Bob came strolling in. Still a little drowsy, he asked, "Do you need any help?" "No, I've got it under control. I'm just waiting until the vegetables are done cooking, and I'll be home free. How was your day on the golf course?" "I broke in the low 70s for 9 holes." "That's great, honey. I'm still waiting for you to give it a try, babe. You know, Bob, golf isn't my pastime of choice. I have other interests to pursue. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about working part-time at Yesteryears. Grace needs the help, and as you know, she's not getting any younger." "Oh, that's great. Whatever makes you happy. We have a garage full of old stuff. You might want to consider donating some of it to Grace." I'm going to leave off right here because I'm going to get beeped out by